Welcome back, Better Agents. Nicholas Ayers coming to you live from Better Agency HQ. And today we've got a doozy of a topic. We're talking about Facebook advertising for insurance agents. Now, when it comes to Facebook ads, this is a hot topic because this is something that people will charge hundreds and thousands of dollars for to teach you in a course, but I'm gonna do my best to break down the granular topics and things that you should be considering if you wanna start using Facebook ads in your agency, or maybe you've been using Facebook ads, but you haven't been getting the results that you want. We're gonna kind of break through some of the tactical things, some of the strategic things that you might wanna consider and think about, but also address some of the mindset issues that you might be having when it comes to spending money on a platform where you're not getting a ton of results back. Now, before we get into today's video, do me a huge favor, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, but more than that, make sure you like this video here on YouTube. It does a lot to help our channel out, so make sure you hit that little thumbs up and like the video. When it comes to advertising on Facebook, you wanna think about your ads really accomplishing two jobs, and two jobs only. The first job that any ad on Facebook needs to accomplish is it needs to inform the viewer. Whether it's a picture, whether it's a video, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's just text, your ad should inform the people who see the ad. They should be able to look at the ad and they should be able to say, this is exactly who they are, this is exactly what they do. You want to remove all the friction around confusing them about what this is, why am I seeing this video. It needs to be very direct, very clear in both its copy caption and the creative that you use, that this is who you're trying to target. You can do that in a number of ways. You can call out the affinity, so whether it's a job title or where people live. You can talk about insurance. You want to make it very simple, very easy, inform the viewer. The second job of any ad, anywhere on any platform, but in particular on Facebook, is you want to get people to click the ad. That's the job. Click the ad. I'll talk to a lot of agency owners and they'll say, I've been running Facebook ads for months and I don't get any leads. I get a ton of people who click on the ad. I look at my analytics, I'll see that I have hundreds of clicks, but I don't get any leads. The problem is not the ad. The ad is doing its job. It's probably a problem on where they're going. They're going to a website, maybe it's just your generic home page, or maybe it's a page that doesn't match the ad itself. So if your ad is all about home insurance and you take them to your landing page or your home page where it's just generic information about the agency, people are going to bounce. You're not going to have high conversion rates. But if your home ad takes them to a specific landing page about home insurance, or you're talking about a particular town or particular product and it matches on the landing page, that's going to be how you see an increase. So again, you just want to get people to click on the ad and let the sales page do the heavy lifting for you. Perhaps one of my favorite quotes on any advertising and how it pertains particularly to Facebook advertising is by Howard Gossage, one of the old admin of the 1950s and 60s. He said this, it's my favorite quote ever on marketing. He said, nobody likes to read advertising. People like to read what interests them, and sometimes it's an ad. I want you to take this mindset into your Facebook advertising. You don't just want to be direct and just say, get a quote, call me for a quote, click here for a quote. That's just something that people are going to eventually ignore. It's white noise, but people will read interest stories. They'll read things that pertain to them, things that connect with them on a personal level, whether it's something about your family, whether it's something about what you're doing in the community, something that is not as direct, but it is an ad. It is something that is making people aware of who you are. People don't want ads. Walls go up, defense mechanisms come out. People don't want to necessarily just buy or sell anything. They want to have a connection with somebody, and this is where your advertising on Facebook needs to bridge the gap. You need to use creative methods, whether it's telling people about your staff, telling things about stuff that's going on in the industry, talking about stuff that's going on in your community, something that is personal to people. People will read that because it interests them. And that is the gateway into getting effective marketing through to your audience. The last thing I'll say before we get into specific tactics is you need to get comfortable with your budget. You need to go into any advertising campaign or any desire to advertise, and you need to be comfortable with what you're going to spend. A lot of agency owners will want to spend $2 a day, $5 a day, and they're going to freak out if they don't get ads or they don't get leads from their ads within the first 2 days. They're going to say, I spent all this money on the platform and I'm not getting any results. You need to relax. You You need to let go of some of those anxieties. I understand the desire is to get a lot of leads, to get a lot of, whatever it is the end result is, but you have to go into this with the right mindset, and you're building awareness. You're letting people know who you are. You're letting people know that you exist. And for a lot of people, they don't know that you exist. They don't know anything about you. And it's the job of the ad to inform the audience. And sometimes that requires a little bit of conditioning, and that really requires a little bit of patience on your end. If people don't know who you are, then you've got to be comfortable with spending money to make that happen, to build awareness in your audience. And so you got to go into it almost with a set it and forget it mentality and say that I'm going to spend $5 a day, $10 a day, $25 a day, really dependent on how big the area it is that you're trying to target. And you just need to say, if I get 1 lead, 1,000 leads, or no leads, I'm committed to making this work, and I'm committed to spending 3 to 4 months before I ever look at anything else. Oftentimes I find that it's not necessarily a matter of economics as much as it is a matter of the mindset going in and just being comfortable with that, knowing that you have some heavy lifting to do, and that I've got to make people aware that we exist, that we have this awesome product, that we have this awesome agency, and that people should do business with us. Let's talk about the low-hanging fruit when it comes to your Facebook advertising. You should, at all times, in all ways, run remarketing ads on Facebook. What is a remarketing ad? A remarketing ad is an ad to somebody who is already familiar with you because they've either been on your website or they've engaged with a piece of content on Facebook from your company page. You want to remarket those people consistently all the time, and you want to always be refreshing those ads so they're seeing you in new ways and new forms all the time. Every time they go on Facebook, they need to see an ad from you. And the best way that you can do that is to target people who are already familiar with you. They already have some level of awareness as to who you are. And you want to think about this from the eyes of a customer. You want to remarket the right people. Think about the people that just go to your website. Not everybody who goes to the front page of your website, www.agencyname.com, is going to be a prospect. Sometimes it's a customer, sometimes it's a carrier, sometimes it's somebody else who's not necessarily ever going to do business with you. Sometimes it's people from the industry itself. So you want to be very careful and strategic on how you remarket this audience. And so what you want to do is you want to go into your ad account on Facebook, and you want to create a custom audience of people who have been on a particular page, but maybe never completed a step and never went to a secondary page. And this happens by installing your Facebook pixel on your website. And listen, I can spend a lot of time showing you the ins and outs of the interface and showing you where to click on and where to go, but I can promise you this, knowing Facebook over the years, what's likely to happen, and I would bet money on it, is that if I spent time showing you where everything is, then in 3 months, when Facebook changes everything and the navigation looks completely different, you're gonna be just as confused. If you really wanna know where to click on, what to do, I'm sure there's updated videos that somebody's put out on YouTube that shows you where to get your Facebook pixel. And if you have somebody that's working on your website, whether it's someone like Chris Langell over at Advisor Evolved or somebody else, you just wanna give them the Facebook pixel code and they'll install it on your website. A great remarketing tactic is to create a custom audience in your Facebook ad account for people who have been to get a quote, but they never completed a form. They never completed a form and they never went to a secondary thank you page. You can segment your audience, your traffic on your website for people who have been here, but have never been there. And that's gonna be a great way, a great intro into remarketing ads, is to run ads to people that for whatever reason, they never completed a step. And if you think about it, again, from the eyes and the perspective of your customer or your prospect, there's a reason, there's an objection that they had to completing the step. It could be that they ran out of time. It could be that they didn't like the questions that you asked. It could be that they just didn't feel comfortable giving over the information online, or maybe they just called you instead. That's very likely to happen. And so the job of your remarketing ad is to overcome the objection, is to do some sort of risk reversal. Let them know how easy this can be, how simple it is, how it's the way that everybody does it now, and it's perfectly normal, perfectly acceptable, and you just really want to remove the barrier or the friction that they might have as to why they didn't complete the step. Some great ways to remarket this list also is to use client testimonials. This is a great way to do risk reversal, is by showing them testimonials of people just like them who went through the whole process, they got the result that they were looking for, and this turned out to be a pleasant experience. Remarket with client testimonials as much as you can, because that social proof is gonna be what turns the tide a lot of times for people to want to do business with you. Another great remarketing remarketing tactic is to export a list of your contacts from your CRM or your AMS. Hopefully, if your AMS allows you to do this, is to export a CSV file of your customers. Hopefully, you have all of your contacts segmented from prospects to customers, or maybe people that are monoline. So a great tactic would be to export a customer list of everybody in your agency that has home insurance but no auto insurance, or vice versa. Or it's everybody that has home and auto but no umbrella or no life insurance, or whatever it is that you want to go after. You can export that list of first name, last name, email address, phone number, and address, and you can upload that into Facebook, and Facebook is going to do its best because it collects a lot of data on people and knows who people are. It's gonna find those people and it's gonna populate as many of the people in that list as possible into a custom audience that you can run ads to. So if you just think about this, this is great for running cross-selling campaigns as well. You wanna sell more people auto insurance who only have home insurance, create that custom audience in Facebook and run ads just to them, telling them direct offers about what it is that they need and why they need insurance with your agency, and sell them the product and make it something that is familiar. It's okay to say, hey, you're likely already a customer, or you already do business with us. We want to be able to have a conversation with you about this on top of other tactics that you use, like email and picking up the phone and calling them. This is a great way of staying in front of them at all times and getting those people to want to buy more insurance from you. You should be remarketing your audience at all times with exciting offers and exciting news. Here's the thing about business, and if you just think about yourself, I know this is true for me. I like to do business with companies that look like they have a lot going on. They've always got some sort of exciting news. Something's happening. There's movement. They're not just stale. They're not just boring, but there's always good things happening. And this is part of a human condition where we call it the upward spiral. People want to be a part of things that are progressing, that are moving up. And so use your remarketing ads, dedicate budget to talk about exciting news or to give people instructions. So as an example, let's say your agency has adopted Glovebox, the mobile app. You should be running ads to all of your customers, telling them to download the app, why it's important, why it makes their life easier. All of those things are going to be great things to share with an existing audience, to where it doesn't just feel like you're constantly selling them, constantly trying to, get them to buy something, but you're sharing good news, you're sharing positivity, things that you're doing in the community, things that you're doing on your team. Maybe you bring on a new staff person, you want to introduce them. Create a remarketing ad that spends $5 a day and goes out to your audience. It's not going to hit everybody, but it is a great way to make news, to stand out. The thing about news and the thing about PR is you constantly want to be out there. You constantly want to be in the headlines, in the minds of the people that you're doing business with. And so this is a great way to use remarketing ads. All right, let's talk about the high-hanging fruit. It's not just about remarketing, but it's about getting new people in the funnel, new people in the audience that you can eventually remarket. And so you have to go after some of that high-hanging fruit. And the higher the fruit, the less likely it is that they are to become leads. So that's okay. You have to go into it knowing that that's how it's going to work. You're simply setting up your audiences for the remarketing ads to do their thing. But you want to run high-hanging fruit ads. And what's a high-hanging fruit ad? A high-hanging fruit is going after affinities, cold audiences based on affinities. So this could be job titles. This could be where they live. This could be a particular product. This could be anything that they do, a company where they work. All of that, it's cold. It's people who have never heard of you. They don't know about you. They don't know what you do. You're showing up for the very first time. It's a cold audience. You want to use these cold audiences to get out your point of view, to get out your perspective on things, to talk about your value proposition. You want to use these cold audiences to distribute the content that you already have. This is my particular preference. We do things like SEO. We make content that we want to get discovered by the search engines. But more than that, I don't just want to write an article and have someone find it in 9 years. I want to write an article or make a piece of content and I want to put it out there. I want to put gas on it and I want to push it out as fast as I can and get it into the hands of as many people who fit my target audience as humanly possible. And so whether it's a YouTube video, whether it's a video on Facebook, whether it's a content piece that I write, I'm gonna make it and I'm gonna push it. I'm gonna put something behind it to make it go out there. That's how you wanna think about your cold audiences. You are informing people, you're warming them up, you're getting them into an audience, because what happens is people are gonna click on that, they're gonna watch that content, and then they're gonna get segmented into your remarketing audiences where you're making more direct offers. Another nice little hack that you can do for this cold audience is to do some geo-fencing. So geo-fencing is simply setting up a fence around a particular area, a geography, a piece of land or a landmark, and running ads in that particular area. So we did this in our agency when we were trying to hire people. We were in California. We were trying to get people to come into the office. This was 2018, 2017, 2016. We were running ads along a busy interstate where we knew every single day there were hundreds of thousands of people who were commuting on that freeway, stuck in traffic, probably looking at their phones while they were driving or parked on the freeway. And we were running ads to them, telling them that they should come work for us because there was no commute. They didn't have to do that anymore. That was an example of geo-targeting. We've put up ads around large places where we were trying to create an affinity program for a large pharmaceutical company that employed tens of thousands of people. We put up ads around that building so that anybody that went into the building who was an employee of them, we had an affinity program to help them out with a discount on their insurance. We ran ads for that particular company in that geo-targeted fence. You can also use it for your competitors. If you have competitors that have local offices where that get some form of traffic, it's a great little tactic to put up a geo-fence around their office and run your ads. Not so much for the customers, but it could be for the employees. It could be for people who are working there or people that you just want to make mad. That's kind of, I'm not going to say whether or not we did that or not, but it's a great little tactic that you can use to try to make more people who are going in and out of that office of a competitor or a place of interest aware of who you are. Here's a couple quick tips when making ads on Facebook, whether it's a video or a picture, whatever it is that they see, the creative aspect of the ad, the visual, you want to make it a square. You don't want to make it landscape. You don't necessarily want to make it vertical. You want to make it a square. So if you're using anything like Canva or Photoshop, or you're making video in Adobe Premiere or anywhere else, you want to make the pixels 1080 by 1080. It's a square because that's going to fit in the news feed a lot better than anything that's landscape or anything that's vertical or just not the right size or aspect ratio. You want to make it a square. If you're using videos on Facebook, you want to make sure every single video that you have has captions to it. You want to put captions behind every video because people are going to be scrolling in the newsfeed and they may not want to play the video, but because the autoplay on Facebook works, it's going to show the captions and people can still engage with the content. So make sure you add captions to every video that you make. You also want to make sure you have no unnecessary words in the copy that you write, in the caption, or the creative that you use. If it's a video, no unnecessary words. Get to the point. You should be getting direct to the offer, nothing that is fluff, nothing that is jargon. You want to make it appeal to the lowest common denominator. That is the bullseye. The lowest common denominator is going to be who you want to attract because you know that it's going to naturally kind of expand and there's going to be a halo effect that gets everybody else. But you want to make it simple, you want to make it easy, you want to make it quick and to the point. For any remarketing ad that you have, you want to make sure that you're refreshing the ad, meaning you're making a new creative. You can use the same copy, but you want to refresh the creative at least every couple weeks, if not once a month. You could take previous ads that have been sitting on a shelf, you can recycle them and you can make them start again, but you don't want to give people ad fatigue by making them see the same ad multiple times. You want to constantly refresh the ad, give them something new to see. Again, they're going to focus more on the creative than they will the copy. They're not going to remember the copy as much as they remember the video that they saw or the picture that they saw. So refresh those ads, put in new ads, take out old ads. Do that every couple weeks, at least once a month, and just have them sit on a shelf. You can bring them back after a month or two, but you constantly want to have this constant flow of new advertising happening for your remarketing audiences. If it's somebody that's a cold audience, meaning you're targeting a large area and you're okay with a little bit more of a spray and pray method, meaning I'm just going to put it out there and I'm going to see who gets in there, you can have those creatives or those ads last a little bit longer because they're reaching a larger audience, meaning it's going to take a longer period of time for more people to see it on a consistent basis. So it's okay to let those sit for once every 2 months, every 3 months, but you still want to think about refreshing ads and putting new ads in place. Now, if you're an insurance agent and you're still wondering whether or not Facebook is the right platform for you and your agency marketing, then I want you to click on the video directly here on the screen or in the first link in the comments where we talk about the best and worst platforms for all insurance agents. We'll see you again on the next video.